Good morning. I'm Mark Arnold, part of the church family here at Above Bar. This morning we're going to be looking at Psalm 10. This is another one of the Psalms we've been looking at which expresses raw, unfiltered emotion to God. In this Psalm we see that it's okay to pour out our hearts to God and to ask God questions. We might not get the answers we want to those questions, but we see in this Psalm the hope that God does see us and God hears us, and that one day God will act to put things right. And in the meantime we can say and talk to him honestly about how we feel. The psalm starts with a question provoked by an acute problem. Why, O Lord, do you stand so far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? Pause for a second on that question. You're not alone in thinking those things. Neither am I. And in verses 2 to 11, we see the reason for the question David asks. He's angry. He's angry with the arrogance of the wicked who don't seek God and who oppress the poor. And while all this is going on, it seems that God is remote and removed. Don't know if you've ever felt that. I know I have. And David certainly had. David says to God of those who are proud, your judgments are on high, out of his sight. They may be real, God's justice may be real, but it doesn't seem to cut it. It doesn't seem to have any meeting point with this earth. The proud says in his heart, God has forgotten. He's hidden his face. He'll never see. See, David, like us, knows that God is just, but he also knows that the evidence of that justice isn't always apparent in this world. That it often looks like evil and oppression have won, and evil oppressors feel like they've got away with it too. So David appeals to God to take action. Get up, O Lord, he says. Verse 12, lift your hand up, O God. Do something about this. Roll your sleeves up. Get your hands dirty. Don't just be all talk. Get on with it. Do something. It's quite blunt. But it's an encouragement to us to bring those raw emotions and feelings to God and be real about them. And then in the final section, verses 13 to 18, we see what gives us hope in the midst of the world's problems. And fundamentally, it's that God sees and that God hears. God sees. He takes note of the trouble and the grief that people go through so that he can do something about it. He takes it into his hands. It's to God that the helpless can go, can abandon themselves to God utterly because he's got them. He's holding them. He's the helper of the fatherless and the vulnerable. He's the one who's in charge. And he's the one who will judge. And David calls on him to judge, to break the power of the oppressor, because he sees perfectly. And not only does he see, but he hears. He hears the desire of the afflicted. It's not even that he hears the cry of the afflicted, though that's wonderfully true. He hears the desires, the longings, what our heart most wants and cherishes. God knows. God hears. The things that are too private, too buried for us to express. God knows what they are. God sees. He's a safe place to bring those longings into the open with. To be able to say to him, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I'm hoping for. And then the psalm concludes with these words. To do justice for the fatherless and the oppressed, so that man who is of the earth may not strike terror anymore. God will act. He doesn't act on our time scale, and that's why we have these anguished psalms. As Christians, we live with a God who's utterly good, a God who's totally powerful, yet a God who doesn't wipe out suffering immediately. To help us live in a world with such pain and so few answers, we have this psalm. We have this questioning, this lamenting, to deal with the way in which we live now and the time between those times, waiting for the day to come when God will put everything right, when he will judge. We have a hope and we have a future, and one day all terror will be gone. And until that day, this psalm gives us words to come before God and to plead our cause with him. So take time today to bring those words to God. Let's pray now. O Lord, so often it looks like you're not at work, like evil has won. Father, help me to know that this is your world, that the battle is not over, that one day everything will be put right. Help me live now in the light of that. May I be honest with you. May I be real in my prayers. And may I and we see you at work in this city, this nation and this world starting to put things back together and people back together. Amen.